Hello pilots, welcome back to episode 28 of our Motion RC Live weekly live show here on Friday. It is 12 in the afternoon for me on the East Coast of America, and whatever time it is for you guys, as always, we thank you so much for joining us. And as people said in the comment, leave a like. I hate asking for likes. Do it on the way out the door if you actually like this video. But that kind of stuff always helps. And, you know, this video today is going to be on Preflight. So how this video sort of came about, on Squawk I posted a while back, you know, always looking for ideas of shows. We have the Learn to Land series that sort of stemmed. But I had just asked, you know, the community, what do you do for a pre-flight checklist? And Alpha, of course, was the first one to reply with one of the most detailed replies ever, and I'll get to it. This was me screenshotting Squawk, and he goes through everything. So I've just been reading on that, and it was a matter of, you know, just how I would do it. And so I thought we were going to break this down in two sections today. So we're going to have a part one, because basically everything you do from the time you unbox an aircraft until your maiden flight and she actually lifts off the earth is a pre-flight check. So part one of this is going to be basically here in the table in a we filmed this 2 days ago. Wanted to try to cut out the minutia. If I tried to do this live, it would take a long time. And then part two is us at the field. We got out there yesterday. I did Maiden on. This is the new, this is the in-runner version of the F-18 in the base gray. We needed pictures, better pictures of just the basic base gray anyway, because, you know, the pictures we have on the website for it were done by Alpha in some studio and just does not look like every other picture on the website. So we really wanted to get new pictures, but I figured perfect opportunity to, you know, sort of add what we're going to do here today. And Jeff, I want to thank Jeff's Custom RC and Dustin Holloman. I was on their show on Tuesday night, 8:30, every Tuesday night. Those two guys do a live show. They interview people or they're chatting. And if you want to get in there, obviously it's one of those later shows like the Merry Boozers. They're Sunday night. You know, it's probably better for people, at least on in America time, to get in and just chat with people. You know, the live chat is here for you guys. But you know, I wanted to thank them so much. I had a great time on their show. Hopefully we get to do it again real soon. But I think it is time to get started with part one. So I'm going to play this bit. It's about 25 minutes or so. I'll be in the live chat answering questions. And guys, add anything you wish, because I want this video, these videos are living, you know, the Learn to Land videos are living on. So, you know, the live chat people are going to be able to see that replay. You could always add to it. And what I want to preface with this is not the Bible, you know, on pre-flight. These are just things that I do with basically every model, because obviously these models are not mine. They're Motion RCs. I work for Motion RC. I want these to last as long as possible, so I have to do my due diligence every time I take these out, because these have to come with me to shows. These have to be available for video. They have to be available when customers have questions in CS and stuff. You know, I need them to live, so I don't rush them. I take my time with them. And, you know, I'm not always perfect, but these are a lot of things that I do. And then Patrick joins us in part two. He has some things to say, because he obviously knows what he's doing as well. And we want to hear from the community. So if you're watching this on a replay too, drop what you do on your pre-flight in the comment section of this video, or head over to Hobby Squawk. I threw up a link in live, and I'll have a link in the description to this thread that I just mentioned in the comment section. So Alex, when you are ready, sir, press play on part one. Alright guys, so part one of this pre-flight checklist, I have a brand new unboxed F-18. All I did was assemble the 14 screws, I believe, to put the main wings on, to put on my verts, put on my horizontal stabs, but I've yet to bind it up on a receiver, yet to do my linkages. You can see everything's hanging here. And basically the point of this, as I said already, is everything you do from the time you open that box till you take your first flight is a pre-flight. So in step one, though, we'll do everything that I do with a plane before I get it out to the field. You know, get it as set up as possible here. And then when we get to the field, it doesn't matter if it's your Maiden or not. We'll do the things that you should be checking on any aircraft once you get there. So, as you can see, I dropped my gear with a servo tester. But what I want to do first, I'm going to get the plane bound up. And I'm going to get all the control linkages on, and in the interest of time, we're going to fast forward through this part and just get to the point where she's now bound up and everything is sort of set, and we could talk from there. So let's get going. Okay guys, I just got my aircraft bound. That's the best way for me, and I like to make sure I can check my servos before I install the control linkages on my aircraft. And at this point, when you do bind up, you want to check a few things, and we're going to go make sure you take your bind plug out at this point. If you forget to do that, if your receiver does have a bind plug, then that could be an issue. And I'm going to be installing this with a gyro today, so we'll get into it once I get all the control linkages on. One of the first things I like to do, though, when I do have it bound up, because right now it is on, because I'm going to be leaving it bound, you know, while I do this, the control linkage setup. So first things first, whatever system you have, find out how to set a throttle cut, do that now, and turn it on. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go into throttle cut on Spectrum. I'm going to put it on the back switch H, and now it's in, and you can see I'm going to bring up the throttle just a tad. It's on, and then now it's off. So I could go full throttle and nothing's going to happen because I'm going to leave my transmitter on throughout the rest of this linkage process. So let me get that completed and we'll get to the next step. Alright guys, so control linkages are all on. And now what I did at this point, again, every manual pretty much for every RC aircraft is going to tell you which servo holes to put your control rods on and such. So like 1 to 1, 1 to 2, as far as the ball links and things like that of how they get installed. But right now I didn't worry about rates or anything. I just want to make sure everything is in and level. So if you see here with like my aileron, it's level to the flap. I have my elevator right now level with the seam. Again, every aircraft is different. Your manual will tell you where they should be started as a center point. So sometimes they call for 15 millimeters of elevator and stuff. This book doesn't call for that at all, and I haven't got into rates. We will do that, but you can see everything works. The only thing I did at this step is make sure all my throws are in the proper direction, and that's a very simple reversing or not reversing in the transmitter. So if I want to roll right, my aileron is that way. If I want to roll left, if I want to rudder left, if I want to rudder right, and if I want to pull up or if I want to pull down. Everything is in the proper order, but we'll get to rates in a second. Now at this point in the game, this is where again, I have a process. It's the same thing I do for pretty much everything. Now I want to go figure out where am I going to place this receiver. The receiver placement on an aircraft is crucial, and the reason I liked using the F-18 here as a demonstration is because the F-18 has carbon reinforcement in the nose to give it more rigidity, and it's perfect for helping us in this scenario figure out where your receiver is. Now, when you mount a receiver, especially one with wires, what you want to do is make sure that you tape off your wires at 90 degrees. Now, I'm using the Admiral 10 channel with a satellite, so I could get 4-way directional, and that's how I'm going to set this up. But what I want to tell you is, where you place your battery, remember 2.4 signal will go through foam, no problem. Foam does not block the signal. But carbon, lithium in your LiPo, that is going to affect your signal. So if you were to take your receiver at this point and just say, yep, I'm going to put it here because it looks like it fits, and now I'm up against a carbon wall, I'm between the LiPo battery. If this range checks like that, you're lucky on the ground, but when you take off in the air, when you get in the orientation of the plane where your transmitter is not being able to, it doesn't penetrate through a battery, it doesn't penetrate through carbon, you will lose signal and you will not be a happy camper. So receiver placement is absolutely crucial on every aircraft. Every aircraft canopy is different. Sometimes you're going to be close, but you really don't want to be touching any of the main electronical components in the aircraft. So I'm going to unplug. I'm going to sort it out here. We'll speed through, and then you can see where I placed it on here. Again, this is all for ideas, but let's get rolling. Okay guys, so now I've got everything placed where I wanted. So I unplugged the battery to do this. No sense in leaving the whole system on as you go. And you'll see over the top of me, Alex already filmed it, but my satellite is now towards the front. I've using a combination of 3M, like the Blenderm hinge tape is what I love, and I use the Dubro double-sided tape for my receiver, my gyro, and my satellite. That helps give it, you know, never moves when I put it in there. But basically, I have my receiver, my Admiral, the 10 channel, out in the back. It is between the blue box and where the battery is going to be, but it is out and out of the way. I've taped off my aerials. Again, since I have a satellite, I have 4 aerials, so I try to get 4 different directions on it. My aerials on my main battery here, one's going this way on the top of here, one's facing that way, one's facing down, straight down. My satellite, one's facing forward, it's right on top of this nose, the foam here on the nose, right in the middle, and then the other one is facing aft. But in the back, again, it'll be out of the way of my battery. But now, I'll put my battery in and check. Because again, I haven't worried about CG yet, so that'll be, you know, that'll be something you get to. But now this is where you put it in. Now put your battery in and make sure, you know, everything truly is out of the way. You don't want anything touching, you know, in there as best you can. You know, not all models are the same. F-18 does have a good enough canopy space where it shouldn't be an issue. But if I put my battery right there, about where I believe it to be, because again, that's why I like the satellite. You just get more coverage. But you know, we'll worry about CG. We're definitely going to CG our aircraft here, and we'll do it again out at the field. But in essence, I would have my battery here, and it's not touching anything. No aerials are touching anywhere on the pack. It's going to be dead center in there. So all my electronics out of the way, and I'm feeling good about this setup. But we will see if it works when we bring it out to the field and we do a range check, because we'll do that then. And obviously, you're bringing all this stuff with you to the field. You always want to have your tools with you. But now that that is set, now I think at this point in your setup, and again in your pre-flight check, we want to work on the rates. So I'm going to go by the book rates. I've already flown the F-18. I like the way the book rates were set up. So I'm going to use some, you know, systems. Everybody has a different way to do it, so guys could put in here. I know basically you're doing your high throws and your low throws. I'm not going to tell you how to do it in this. Again, it'll just be part of your pre-flight. Make sure your throws are where you want them to be. So I'll do that, and then we'll come back, because there's a whole lot more we can do with this aircraft on the table before we even take it out to the field. Alright guys, so now when that step's complete, again, you're going by the book. I used all the book rates, and I just used some tools like this. This is a great gauge that I found. We used to carry it. I don't know if we're getting more back in stock, but it's something you can look for. You can use a ruler to set your, to set your rates to go by the millimeters. Like I ended up using just a standard ruler for my flaps. But now everything is set up as per I like it. Everything is set up by the book. You can see my rates. I got them, I put in 3 sets of rates. So I went by the book highs, the book lows, and an extra set of lows is what I like to do, just in case. And my rudder's all set up. So this is something, that's one step now out of the way. I'll feel good. Again, you'll check this again out of the field. But now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to CG my aircraft. So going by the book and the manual, I never had a problem with this aircraft flying it as it should. You want to find this page. Where is it? There it is. Right there. It's always on every page, usually with where you're putting your control rods on the manual, but 88 millimeters from the leading edge of the wing. So right where the wing meets the fuselage, you want to measure back 88 inches to figure this, 88 millimeters, sorry, to figure this out. 88 inches, you'd be down the road there. But I'm going to put this on, and I want to do it because I'm going to CG this aircraft. I'm going to CG, I'm a little face, sorry. I'm going to CG this aircraft from the bottom of the wings, and I always like to do it with I do it with the gear up. So I'm going to put the gear up. It's on a little delay. There they go. And we still have a lot to do here in the aircraft, but I'm going to flip her upside down first, and I just want to get my measurements and make my marks, or find a spot on the aircraft where it's going to be, but I do like to make marks, especially when it's a bottom of the wing aircraft, because then again, it doesn't matter to me what happens to it. So just for Alex's sake, I'm going to pop, let me get a pencil. I'll do it with a pencil. And I'm going to pop up on the table. Oh.
Oh.
You just lost power.
No.
No.
Maybe.
Didn't. No.
No, we didn't. All right.
Pop up on the table. Here we go. So now I said 88 millimeters. So let's do that. So right from the leading edge, put this right here. That's 0. So 8 is 80 to 88. So that puts me, CG, about right here. So you see my little mark on there, so I can even give it a little circle. That's where I want to put my fingers. Basically the back corner of that thing. I'll measure it here. It's perfect. It's on the plastic. Beautiful. So now, let's flip her over. And I just put my battery wherever it is as a starting point. I'm going to put finger there, and nope, she's going back. See, she is tail heavy. So she wants to fall. I'm using my fingers to catch her. So that means my battery shall come forward a bit. Let's slide her. I think it's right up against there. Perfect. Lock her down so she doesn't move. You don't want her to move when you're doing this. And we're going to try again. Burp. Burp. Look at that. That is CG on 88 and a little nose heavy. Great for a Maiden, or just great for wherever it's going to be. And now your best bet, since you know that's where the CG is, you feel confident in that position, let's mark it in the tray somewhere. So I'm going to use a little marker, or how about a pen? And I put a 5. Just so I know. So now that's marked. So now I know when I go to the field, that's my starting point. Sweet. Okay. So now let me drop the gear. Are you still rolling on that one?
This one?
Yeah.
We're live.
We are live. But we're not live.
But we're not live.
But I'm live in the chat right now. I'm enjoying watching myself and hating to hear myself talk. Okay, so now look, this aircraft is virtually ready to go. Or is it? This is now where, this is where it's imperative. You guys invested your money in a model from anyone. Let's check all the things, because now I took this out of the box. Obviously, I screwed in 14 screws, or really 18 screws if you include the 2 on the missile rails, but structurally sound. 6 for the verts, 2 in each horizontal stab, 2 on the wings. I know I secured those down. Now, this is where I always see different guys use different methods. When you're screwing things in, some guys like to put a dab of foam tack if they're going from a screw into plastic. So metal to plastic, put a little foam tack on there. It'll keep that screw. Because over time, and this is why we're going to pre-check our aircraft, over time, screws are going to back out if you don't put anything in there. Slowly but surely. It happens to everything. Anybody who ever been inside of a kitchen knows their doorknobs start, you use it a lot, they start unscrewing, you're always screwing things back in. Happens everywhere, so plane's no different. So you can use some foam tack there. Metal to metal, a lot of guys like to use like our Benchcraft like thread locker. Blue, I check everything a lot, so I tend to not do that, but again, it's something you can do. But again, I know 14 structural screws that I hand tightened here, I'm comfortable with. But what about all the screws that I didn't touch? Let's check those. That's your next step here is, let's go through, let's check the motor, make sure I didn't plug the motor in. I want to make sure, again, it's my pre-flight. I don't want to take off and have something go wrong, because if you smash the aircraft, it's even harder to tell what might have went wrong, whether it was something you did or not. But not checking is 100% going to guarantee that if something does happen, you probably won't know what did. So I say first things first, let's check the motor and ESC. So now the order in which you do this, you could do this right from the get-go. I just tend to, I built a lot of them. It doesn't matter the order you do it as long as you do it. Again, like right here, let me get a better screwdriver. But like right here, these 4 screws, I didn't tighten them down. Somebody else did. A human being 100% did that. There's no computer that's doing this. No machine that's going to do this. And you have your model here. You have your investment here. Make sure that everything looks good inside. Did any wires get pinched is what we're going to check for, because this is our next biggest step. I could see the ESC lead on that end is fine, but let's take that out. And let's see, there's our in-runner motor. So looking around, look at things. Is anything impeded in here? What I actually like to do is 100%, let's take all 6 of these screws out. I didn't tighten them in, but when I put it back, I'm going to know that it's fully tight because then I did it. All right, so now all 6 screws are out. Let's check. Motor, coming up. Check your fan. Does this feel tight? There's a screw down in there. Can I tighten that? That's something I want to check. Are any of my leads bent? Is everything, I like everything's taped together. All my leads look plugged in nicely. So I'm happy with what I'm seeing in there. So that's good. I could look in. Is my ESC, everything looking fresh in there? It does. So now I can pop this back, make sure it's good. And now when I screw it in, and let's do that. Since it's just foam tack, let's make sure it's really good and tight. Let's do this. Take your screw, dip just a little bit of foam tack in there. A little bit of the glue that comes with the model. Why not? Ain't gonna hurt nothing, and it's gonna give me more peace of mind. If I can fucking get it in there. There we go. So now when I tighten it down, boom. I know it's good, because now I did it. All right. Again, what other screws do we have that we can check? One of the main things we want to check, how about the landing gear? If you see it on social media, guys land, they say their gear fell out and whatever, issue. You have the aircraft right here. This is where you can check. No forces generated on this plane is going to be able to be more than your own physical strength. So I'm going to get on this aircraft and let's tug. I'm going to tug on the landing gear. I'm giving good pressure. Nothing's moving. Move it around. You're not going to hurt nothing. This thing is landing at, 60 miles an hour, or 40 miles an hour, whatever it is. You tugging on it isn't going to hurt, anything. And every aircraft's different, but like this one, again, has 4 screws for a plate. I want to take the plates off because this is my model. I put my hard-earned money into it. I want to check and make sure that the work was done, the way it should be. More than likely it is. I've done this on a bunch of free-wing aircraft, over my time. It's really, for the most part, it never fails. But why leave it to chance? I'm here, I'm doing this, what's the rush?
Yeah, nobody on social media comes on and says, my stuff was super tight and it never fell out, you know?
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
1 in 1,000 case.
Exactly. So now looking at it, I've got, this is a screw-to-screw mount. So right now, the thing that would rip out is the plastic's probably glued to the foam, but also you have screws keeping that all in. Do I need to take any of that? I can see it physically. That I don't need to take it, out. But I can check all the screws. Was each one tight? Do I have any clicks left to gain? Everything feels really tight. And then you do the same thing for the next one. Come to the nose gear. I can see in the nose gear. Are these screws? I can't even make a turn. They're nice and tight. I can pull on this and I can see nothing is coming loose. I can check my gear. Is everything, my doors, everything look good. I like how they tape down. They have the wires taped down nice, Somebody went and did the right proper time. But that's pretty much where a majority of your screws are going to be. Now, while you have the plane upside down, another thing we hear too. What about your control horns? What about your servos? I haven't checked any of that. Sure, I set it up, but now I can tug on them. These are just glued in. There's usually a piece that digs into the foam, but pull. I'm giving more force than the servo's ever going to be able to create on that surface. I'm going to do it on this one. Way more force. It's impossible for me to show you how hard I'm pulling, but I'm pulling. Then here, pull up on the servo. Obviously you have these nice, some planes have this mount. Even if the servo wasn't fully glued, this is going to keep it there. But you'll be able to feel if it's loose. Let me unscrew. Let's unscrew this one. Again, what's the rush? You're probably building this at night. You're spending your time with her. You love her. You got yourself a base gray F-18 that you're dying to get Cali graphics on eventually. But I suggest doing your Maiden first, making sure she flies right. Take that off. See the servo. Does that pull out? For the most part, 99.9% of the time, it will not. But for the one chance it happens, those tend to be the ones that pop up on social. But pull on that and then do it for each one. In lieu of time, I will do it later, but this video is probably already getting long. But, very important to make that check. All right, guys, so now at this point in the game, I feel pretty confident that I could take this bird to the field with me and finish up a full pre-flight check. So now in the second part of this video, when I do get to the field, that part of the video should work for any aircraft. Any aircraft you take to the field, you should do the things we do there. But I thought this was a good idea, going from an unboxing to a completed aircraft, to just show you some of the things that I go over. If you think I missed anything, let me know, call it out. Any other tips you can give, but for the most part, this is how I go through an aircraft every time. Obviously, I don't want to crash the aircraft that gets sent to me that I have to make videos for and stuff, so I do my due diligence because these need to survive for me over time. But right now, we're going to take a pause from part 1 of this is now complete. I'm going to send it back to myself in a different shirt live in the studio, and let's go through some social media call-outs. And we're back. So that was just, again, did I miss some things? And we'll touch on that in part 2. Like I didn't even, at the time, I didn't calibrate the ESC on the table, but you find things again, like we end up doing another check when you get to the field. But, I wanted to do that just because, I feel like a lot of people, and I hate calling out people, but I think anybody who's on our live chat is probably on social media. You see a lot of that happening with people, and it's just like, did you check it? Like nobody's perfect. Nothing's perfect. This isn't a car. It's not 40,000. That's why you pay a mechanic to check it. It's not plumbing. I don't deal with plumbing. I pay a plumber, a certified person to come and make sure, that it's right. For an aircraft, you're fully in charge of this model. And if something were to happen, it could be dangerous, even if you're at your field. You know, something falls off the plane, but you didn't check it. It's always best to check. Why rely, you know, on something you didn't see? You know what I mean? For the most part, free wing, flight line, I've built so many, I check it, and it's a waste of time because it is fine. But if it's not, you could fix it there. You could contact customer service. If you're at that point where I'm at and your model's perfectly fine, hey, this was out, or this servo isn't working. One of the things I wish I did in that section was put all your servos on a servo tester. And, you know, most servo testers have a function where it'll go for just 5 minutes back and forth. You know, see if there's any clicks in there, you know. There's so much more you can do, and that's why I'm hoping if you're watching this video in a replay, you know, drop other tips in this comment. I want people who are new to find this video and get the information they need on, and you should do this, I don't care what brand it is, but it's something I talk about with Patrick. This hobby was founded by patient people, right? I mean, this hobby was founded by people who spent months building their model to get it out to the field because you couldn't be together in an hour flying. So you best be sure they checked all that stuff over and over and over and over again, and every time they went out, because if they crashed it, that's another year out the box to get another one up. You know, they weren't building them that fast. So, you know, this is your aircraft. This is an investment. It's a big investment for some people. It's a small investment for some people. But either way, it's an investment. And the more flights you get out of it, the more money, you know, like the more you get out of it, I guess, the less per, you know, every flight you take, cut the price in part.
Quarter in for the arcade
yeah,
ride.
you know what I mean? You're taking it from, if you only get 3 flights out of a $400 plane versus 300 flights out of a $400 plane, you get your money's worth over time. So let's take a pause though on the pre-flightness, and let's run around the community a bit. So I'm actually going to push this to the side so I can see, because I got a monitor right under the camera. But we had some fun going as usual, guys, on our Facebook community, and we're going to start right here. Don Smith, Paul Smith, Dan Smith, Paul Smith, and Philip Mew. I made that the cover shot right there of the Motion RC customer community. That is an awesome shot. I don't think Patrick and I ever got that close. We don't take a lot of pictures of our tandems. We're always in video, but gorgeous shots, even with the vignette on them. And they were new. All 3 of them were new to our customer community. So, you know, that's an impression. You know, they got the cover right away on the first post.
They
so
Kool-Aid Man into our group.
Kool-Aid Man. That's so funny. They just broke through the wall. Break the walls down. Right in. And awesome post, guys. And I just saw they shared a post with Pete, who is one of our customer service guys in the EU. That's where they're based, I believe. And they shared one of a Spitfire. That'll probably be popping up. Absolutely awesome. This is why I said Don. Then we have Don Adams. If you remember him from a couple weeks ago, he put flaps on his F-35. Then he had an accident. He said he dumb-thumbed it. And he got a new one and got it back together. And I think this one actually looks even prettier than his first. So he's throwing flaps on the 70mm F-35 from Free Wing. And he shared a shot of, you know, the real bird that he went for. And looks pretty darn good.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to, hopefully, he posts a better Maiden. I'd love to see how those flaps work on that model. And, you know, that's a model that you can slow her down well. But obviously, flaps only going to help with that. So hopefully it works out. Then we got Enoch. Enoch, our almost like a son from another father. Enoch comes with us. This is Steve Hodges' son. He shared a post. So if you guys remember George Baker, Steve Hodges, Tired Iron Aviation, George became famous for flying every single day something, and the AMA acknowledged him for something like 3 years straight. So Enoch took the challenge, and just the other day, he 2 straight years, so that's 365 times 2, every day at least 1 flight a day for 2 straight years. This kid has been flying, and it's like every time Alex and I meet him, he's a better and better and better pilot. He was the one, he's flying the 90mm F-22, he's flying big jet, L-39, he's inverting it, going low.
Pass, yeah.
You know, he's a kid, so it doesn't matter to him. Like, there's just no fear there. He's absolutely fantastic pilot now, and congratulations to Enoch. And I wonder if he's going to keep it going or if he's going to take a break, because, you know, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, but it's awesome that you are. Next one is Jerry Pre, I hope I said that right, 2 B-24s. And now he said from here, actually, I wrote down there was a livery on it, but He's submitting one to a museum. So 2 of our B-24s he put in 2 different noses and 2 different, just similar schemes, but different designations, if you will. And the way he made it sound in the post, that one of them's going to be submitted for show at a museum and it's going to live there forever. So he sort of said goodbye to it in a post, and I don't know which one it was, but they look awesome.
They look gorgeous.
Yeah, a completely different type of scheme than I remember seeing. B-24, also one of those planes that, there's a lot of ways to go, but usually it's just with the nose art and stuff. For the most part, the olive drab or the silver were the way to go. But that looks really cool and, awesome work, Jiri. So if you're out there and you see this, good on you for putting that up. Now, if you guys saw, I guess it was one of the Rem brothers' birthdays, and I thought these were the funniest pictures I've seen in a while. He got himself a Flightline Tiger Cat for his birthday, but I just envisioned a Christmas tree on the other side. He's like 12 years old. I think these are funny. I hope they were set up like this, or if that's just really, I've met Joe and the Rem brothers, and super great guys. We flew together, and I just thought that was super funny. Just like, this is exactly what this hobby is, adult toys, and this is how we feel every time we get that box. So, Joe, I don't know if you already had a Tiger Cat, but I'm sure you've seen them fly. It's a sweet flying aircraft, so enjoy it, and should be nice Maiden for you there. But awesome pictures. Thank you for sharing. Then, this is Fast Phil, who I haven't seen in the chat. He used to be in here in a while, but maybe he's busy. But he's got this, I think the way he made it sound, this is like his backyard or around the field, but he's got tanks, crawlers, and I'm just like, I'm falling in love with the modeling behind these like surface sets that I keep seeing. Even though these, I'm not much for crawling, but just the fact, the signs, the train tracks, the turf, the buildings, like the bridge, like that shot right there, that's the Henlong Sherman, I believe, just with the bridge in the background. Everything about that is amazing, and I can't wait to get to one of these things. It almost makes me want to turn my entire backyard into something like this, because it's absolutely awesome. So, I think the Mary Boozer said he was going to try to eventually do something like this at his house, but I would love to be able to even do this at my field, and George Baker himself at Tired Iron might be doing something like this as well, because it'd be fun to play around and have the tank battles, IR battles, and you see we're getting a lot of cars now and things like that. Surface is coming to motion more and more, so, we'll be able to play with all this type of stuff in good time. Then we've got, who is this? Ron Stewart. He made a nice post, just this single shot, but he said he talked to Ed in our customer service department. Ed helped him get this awesome Roban up and flying. So this was after his successful Maiden, or before it was. But if he does have video, Ron, if you're out there, that looks impressive. Every time I see a Roban model in person, they are impressive. Big scale helis. So thank you so much for sharing that if you are out there. And, would love to see video, because that's a sweet flying heli. Jeff wants an 18-wheeler. He said, a lot of people do. I mean, these 18-wheelers, like I said to you, I want one just for the customization aspect of it. Most of the chassis or the body comes unpainted, which, now that we got the Benchcraft airbrushes, I got my paints over there, like weathering and all that stuff. I would love to paint up my own cab. Maybe even do like a Motion RC. I just made myself a sign that, you'll see why in due time. But, I got the Motion RC paint matches from Home Depot, so I might, have to get me one, maybe make like a Motion RC truck. That would be kind of cool, because I love our colors, I love our logo, the simplicity of it. I'm a blue fan, so why not, Let's go to YouTube shout out this time, and I just wanted to, again, there they are. Jeff's in the chat, Dustin Holloman and Jeff on the right. They made me look mean. Jeff's wife does their thumbnails and such like that, does their media. I was on their show last Tuesday, and again, every Tuesday at 8:30. For some reason, they share YouTube channels, so their 1 week will be on one of their channels, 1 week on the other. I think they got to fix that issue. But either way, look for those guys. They are the Flight Club, and they're always interviewing different people. They've got, they're filming their flights and stuff like that. But that live chat at night is really awesome. And I just want to shout out again, like I said in the beginning, thank you guys so much for having me on. We had a good conversation about anything and everything. And as you know, I can talk, so we had a good time and we went longer. We actually went longer the night before testing than we went on the real show. So anybody watching this, the video lives on. Check those guys out because I'm sure they're going to be doing it for a good while. Also on YouTube, I did want to shout out this channel, Brendan McCormick. If you guys seen him, he did an awesome AL37 and he takes steps. But he shared this with us. This was an FMS Hawk that he nosed in, and he's got like 3 parts. He named his channel Just Plain Crazy, which I think is awesome. But in this video, and I just cut it up, but he explains how he does it, and I'm super impressed with how he fixed the model. Man, if you want information on how to detail and fix a foam aircraft, this is, the place to go. Because I've tried to do this, and it looks okay, but watch what happened. He's using our Benchcraft airbrushes. He color matched it, and you'll see at the end, I almost don't believe him. I want to say he bought a new one and just showed us a brand new one, because the work he did on this is absolutely insane. So check him out. I definitely I watched a lot of this video to find, and it looks absolutely awesome. This is me just speeding up a lot of it, and there's the Benchcraft airbrush system he uses, but here it is. The completed part, just that one shot alone, I can't tell that plane ever had an accident. Maybe he bought a new canopy because the plastic is hard to do, but that nose is absolutely fantastic work, and Brendan, always a pleasure to see that kind of stuff out there, because those kind of videos are what people search for, especially with foam. That's the beauty of foam. If you do have an accident, she's not dead. They're never dead when it's foam. If it was balsa, she's dead, or composite. But for the most part, that looks like you bought a new aircraft. So awesome work on you. And then are you?
All right, I have to share.
Alex
these shots
is cutting
that I
in
got yesterday.
All right,
Patrick flying his F-18 Blue Angels right here.
Okay, yesterday when we went to the field, Patrick just happened to be there with his F-18 Blue Angels.
To be there, as always.
As always. And Alex just threw on his slow-mo, and these shots are absolutely insane. Now, he has the original, this is the first batch of F-18s he still flies. This was the Outrunner. We didn't actually get a chance to do a tandem on these two, but we will. But look at this shot. The focus, the low, it looks unbelievable. The only thing bad about the shot is there aren't 3 or 4 of them in a row. Alex is he's a supreme cameraman, and the shots he can get, but even he impressed himself. That's
I honestly saw these shots, and I told James these some of the best shots I've gotten for Motion RC so far.
So if you're going to leave Motion RC, these are going to be on your demo, is what, what you're saying?
This second shot, I think, might lead off the demo reel.
But check this one out. Yeah, it's tough when a plane, we do this for product videos, getting a plane over your head. It's tough to rack the focus and get it right, but this shot was absolutely stunning.
I hope our boss is watching because he's a big Navy guy.
Navy shot. Come on, anybody who appreciates composition and video, that's what we try to do. That's our background, and it's always fun. Being behind the camera to me is just as fun as being behind the sticks. So awesome, Alex. Alex got his highlight there. That was awesome. And now that wraps up YouTube. So I think at this point now, what time is it? Yep, 12. The next piece is about, we're going to go over a little bit today, just because I was going to break this up into 2 videos, but we figured somebody watching a pre-flight check should be able to see it all in one shot. So without further ado, let's head on to now pre-flight part 2, and I'll be in the live chat on this side of the screen. All right, pilots, thank you, James, in the studio for throwing it back to part 2 of this pre-flight check on this Friday live show. And this time we're joined again by Major Patrick Crowsdale, who I think just lives at the field. I showed up, he was here, had his Blue Angels in the background, so perfect, for this. But basically, Patrick, like I explained to you right before we turned the cameras on here, the idea, I did everything I could at home to get this model, ready to go out of the box, because as I see it, your maiden flight, everything, second you take a piece out of the box to the first time it leaves the ground, everything is considered a pre-flight. But now for this section is the rules here can apply to any model you're going out with. When you take it out, make sure, a lot of this again can be done at home, but when you're at the field, before you're about to go up, take the time to just check everything again. So like, just off the top of my head, what are some of the things you check, on your aircraft when you get to the field?
I say the one that pops out the most in my mind, honestly, is throw controls. So are they going the right direction? Because I can't tell you, myself, I have done it where I've been on the bench, I was looking on the model, I was like, yeah, left, right, that looks good. And then didn't check it again. And it met a fiery demise as I had the ailerons reversed. It's something simple and stupid. Everybody does it in the hobby. So I always stand behind the model and left, right, up, down, checking, making sure that the throws in the right direction.
Yeah, and also this is a second check because when you're doing things, sometimes, we're all human. We think we see something the right way, but then you're in essence checking what you just checked the day before and getting a second opinion on it from yourself, which is great. And if you could have a friend come and check things over too, that's the beauty of being at a club like this. You're going to have other people that can also help. So some of the things before we get into the plane, because obviously now we're here, we got our battery charged. That's one of the things to check. It's not just the aircraft. Are your batteries charged? So everybody should have a cell checker, a way to check. And right now this battery is 99%, and I could run through each cell. One thing about batteries, again, this isn't a tutorial on batteries, but if one cell is drastically different, they're not all going to be exactly the same, but if one's drastically different, I might not use that battery or put it on the balance setting and try to further balance your pack. So, be careful about that, because the plane could be perfect if the battery's not, I've done that. You threw a battery in or you put it in the wrong set. Have a system so that you know which batteries are charged or not, and always check. You always see me running to grab my cell checker. Always. So that. Another thing I check, your transmitter. I am religious when it comes to keeping my transmitter charged. I don't like to fly anything under 8 volts. Like, my battery's at 7.9 on this, 7.8. I'm at 8.2 fully charged on the transmitter. Whatever transmitter you have probably has a battery pack in it. Make sure your transmitter's charged. Low voltage on your transmitter is just as bad as low voltage on your LiPo battery in your plane.
Maybe worse.
You may be worse, because then you're losing a perfectly fine aircraft for a fault of your own. So I always bring the charger with me, and if I'm at the field for a good long day, second that gets under 8, I'll just plug it in and wait. Wait a little bit while my other battery's charging, talk, converse, do what you got to do. So now we got the blue, the base gray F-18 in front of me, and you see she sits on her butt. Now we already made our CG mark, so let me get my battery in, and then we'll get plugged in. And again, this is another part of the pre-check though. I like to, some people put Velcro, but I use the little rubber thing that goes on the bottom, along with the Velcro, and I find that works fine. I don't glue that rubber down, I just stick it on the base. And then I have my CG mark. If you see the pencil line there, Alex, somewhere on this wall, he sees it. That's where I'm going to put the front of my battery, because you saw in part 1, I already CG'd it, but we're going to check that again for sure. So let's get this in. I'm going to put tail that way. I am right at the line. I want my battery dead center if I can, so there's space between everything. I don't jam it on a wall if there's wiring there or anything. It keeps it nice and neat. Every plane is different. Some planes you have no choice. You work with what you got. So now transmitter's going on. And now there's one thing I know I have to do on this that I forgot to do there was my ESC calibration.
Yes.
Because I plugged this in and checked it, and it is not.
Gotcha.
So we will do that too in a second. But first things first, because that doesn't have to be done first. So I have my flap. All right, so now you're here, plugged in. One thing I like to do, if your plane has ordnance, if you're going to fly with, little outserts, like the nose cone, this is magnetic. Is it on there secure? Is it tight? Something like that can fall off if you didn't check, if you put it on, maybe it's a little loose, you hit a bump, that falls off. It's just an annoyance, and it could affect your flight, of course. If you had bombs, drop tanks, are the magnets touching? Is the railing on? If I had wingtip missiles, check all the peripherals. You don't want to lose like little things like this. Like eventually if the glue, I'd hate to lose that because then it's just an annoyance. I got to make it or buy the extra part, right? Something small like that.
So in full scale, you refer to that as your walk around.
Okay.
You're basically just going to make sure that everything on the jet is ready to go in the shape that it needs to be. And the way I think about it is shrink ourselves down to 1/10 scale, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and start from the cockpit, like you're standing there, and walk around the airplane and just see what is suited to be taken up in the air.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, check the nose cone. Check your pitot tubes. Make sure are they glued in. Are they right? Are they where you want them? If you don't want them in, take them off.
Yeah.
You know, some people don't like to fly with their pitot tubes because that's their pretty scale and they want to take it off.
Yeah.
So do your walk around. Take it off. Take a look. You know, I give things a little tug sometimes too. You know, I know you probably did that in the
We did
studio.
that last night, but why not, right?
Exactly. So you're just coming through, you're checking, you're making sure that it's all connected, it's all right. You know, sometimes one of the things I'll do is I'll double check and make sure that the little white plastic clip that holds it in, I'll make sure that's secure.
Tight on the control horn.
Exactly.
So if I pick that up, point that out, I'll hold it.
So just looking at your clip, making sure that the clip is in place and that it's on there. If you use the rubber O-ring, make sure the rubber O-ring is attached and isn't broken or chipped or anything. Again, you could have nicked it on the way to the field.
Yep.
So just looking and seeing, make sure it's good. But like I said, you know, start at the cockpit and just walk around the airplane. Pull on the things that you need to. Look at the elevators.
I always, again, like we did last night, pull on your control horns because they're glued in. Pull on them, you know, like, now, some of these things you don't have to do. If you're going to fly this model 5-6 times in a row, I'm not going to check them every time. But if I had a bad landing, I'm going to go check. You know, if I landed hard or if something felt wrong in the air, let me check. You know, I don't know, something wiggled. Let me see. This is the type of stuff that's going to happen over time. But, you know, at the beginning, you're here.
Yeah.
Why risk? Take the extra time. Like I was saying to you earlier, this hobby was founded on patient men.
It is.
You know, like patient, and women, you know, if they got into it too, not to be whatever. Meticulous people who spend months building, because that's the only way to do it. So you best be sure they're checking every single thing when they're at the field. Might as well take another 20 minutes on top of 8 months to do it. But, you know, we are in this luxury now where you get things out of the box and don't be in a rush. You know, this is an investment. This is an expensive bird for some people. You know, this is the biggest bird they're ever going to afford. And for other people, even if it's not. Either way, it's the more flights you get out of it, the more it pays for itself. So check it, you know, make sure it's right. One of the things Alpha said in the Hobby Squawk thing I showed to you was like, this is what I didn't do tonight because I'm used to it, but like, you know, make sure your surfaces are reasonably straight, you know what I mean? Like, right? I mean, like, this is going to be pretty much dead on if I'm looking at Alex, you know, but like, not every manufacturer is different. It's an RC model. Does it have to be perfect? Probably not, but reasonably true. You know, if I had my verts and one was at a significant angle different than the other, I might not want to fly that. That's going to affect aerodynamics.
And it's foam too. You put it in your car and you let it heat up and you start getting curling of the foam. Now, Freewing has been really good about adding pieces inside to keep it from curling, but it's always good to make sure that you know, you didn't leave it in the back of the car for all night and then in the morning sun it curled a little bit and now you maybe got to massage that foam back in the right position. So you rest something on it maybe, you forget, you know, like, again, storage is a whole nother thing we do about proper plane storage. That's a whole nother video. But so now we're coming through, so I got the transmitter on. Let me, throttle cut I believe is on. Let me check, throttle cut's on, so let's make sure everything is well and good. So I'm making a left roll, looking good. I'm making a right roll. I'm going up. I'm going down. I'm going left, and my nose gear turning left. I'm going right. My flaps at half. Flaps at full. Sound good. I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to cycle the gear. Okay, you want me to hold it for you?
Sure, you can hold it. That always helps.
Go for it.
You got it?
Yep.
All right. Let's cycle the gear. And this has the blue box, so we'll be on a bit of a delay. You know, check, make sure nothing's impeded, so that if it's in the air, if it doesn't open, you know, don't just let it go up and say we're good, but let it go down. Cycle it through. Good, that feels good to me. Now, I do have a gyro in here. So, what I will do, gyro throws, I turn the gyro on. So let's hear wiggling. So I'm going to turn, and again, this is just quick, but aileron, whatever way you're turning into, the surface should come towards you. So that aileron moves up when I do that, that's good. My elevator's moving up towards me, that's good. And now rudder should come towards us when I turn, and that's good. And we check that. So now that is, gyro's ready, but being that this is my Maiden, I take off, I don't put the gyro on till I get it, I try to fly it first without, you know. Because the gyro for me is just there for windy days. I'm not relying on it to, you know, to do anything other than keep me nice and straight, make it look nice and straight, you know, straighter than
pretty.
Yeah, exactly. So now that looks reasonably true. So now I think at this point, is there anything else on the aircraft on the table, or can now we begin to, let's range check this thing?
So range check, and then I like to taxi the airplane before I do anything like that, because
Make sure that nose is true.
Exactly. Make sure the nose is true, and then I'll have to readjust the elevators, because sometimes if you're using the trim to adjust the nose wheel, you're going to have to adjust the rudders in order to get things matched.
Because they're wide together. That's why some guys like to put those on separate channels.
Yes.
And I understand, I understand why. But for the purpose of this, you're using the blue box. Those are all together. So it will be either straightening your wheel, leaving the rudder, because right now my rudders are straight, so I would probably just try to loosen the pin on the wheel.
Get it as close as you can.
Get it as close to straight, like if I got to feed a little rudder in on the turn, but it is nice. Like Patrick, you get your jets flying where he doesn't touch anything. He just puts the throttle up, and the plane will fly true.
Lazy
comes.
Lazy comes.
The less. That's one thing beginners, when you learn, the better you are. You're almost doing less movement on the sticks. When I was a newbie, I was always thinking I was overcorrecting all the time on everything, because you just look at somebody and they're always moving, but you learn that less is more when it comes to that. So let's take it out. Let's do a taxi test. Let's do it. All right, so I got out to the taxiway. We are empty here, and I just noticed I turned my throttle cutoff. Remind me, calibrate my ESC, because listen to this. Alex is on the plane, the jet. Watch my throttle. Then it comes on. Look how much.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have any top end, and I'm going to think, oh my God, this in-runner's not working. The power's not there. That would be, it happens to us all. So now I'm going to taxi right at Alex, but we're out here taxi test first. Let's make sure she's straight. So I'm just going to go up to enough to get her moving. Seems like she's rolling a little bit to the left.
A little to the left.
A little to the left.
And for me, that would be a small enough amount that I might take it out with electrical trim and then readjust my rudders. But that's just my take.
Okay. So you sub-trim it out.
Yeah, I would maybe get a little sub-trim on it. I think some guys would want to get in there and really get fine-tuned with the mechanical side on the nose gear, which is totally acceptable. But for me, I just like to click, and then readjust the rudders.
So if you could see that, Alex, you want to stand a little farther? I'll point it straight at you again to make sure you really see it, how it goes off to the left a little bit. Right down that yellow line. Yeah, I'm not touching anything, so it won't come down the yellow line.
Yep.
See? So taking off, I mean, I could give a little rudder input on takeoff. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine too.
You could do that too.
You could do that too, but again, you have the choice now. You know that that's there, so it's up to you. If you land and it goes off into the left or something, then you have nobody to blame but yourself, because you've now done a taxi test.
Yep.
So now what I want to do is a range check. So I think the best thing to do, I'm going to drive it out. I think about 30 meters is what they said. So you're looking at almost like a football field, length, right? I mean, that would be 90 feet.
Something like that, yeah.
So this is a 400-foot runway. Football field's 300 feet, so I'm going to go down.
And each one of our sections here is 100-foot long.
And now what I'm going to do with a range check too, couple different angles. Don't just check it at one angle, because again, you're trying to check the plane's in the air. There's all signals going to change depending on what's, that's why you have more aerials. One will pick up if the other doesn't. That's what you hope has happened. You're getting extra redundancy. Right. So I'm going to go in. Everything is different, but we have a range test on here. Push the button. That brings you down to reduce power. Now I'm just going to wiggle my ailerons.
There they go. Ailerons are moving.
Ailerons are moving. Elevator.
Yep.
Rudder. There we go. Move it. Now I'm going to turn it around.
Yeah, bring it back towards us, because that's about 200 feet. That's pretty far.
Now I'm going to point the nose right at us. So now I'm a little closer.
There we go.
Here we go. Reducing power.
They're wiggling.
Ailerons are wiggling. Rudder's moving.
Yeah.
Elevator's moving. And now I'm going to turn it like 90 degrees. Again, all different positions. Reduce power. Elevator. Rudder. Aileron.
Looks good.
Looks good. So now I feel confident with my range check. A couple different angles. And now what I have to do before I do anything, I'm going to bring it back to the table, calibrate that ESC. Woo!
Little Tokyo drift there.
Little Tokyo drift. All right, let's get it back on the table. All right, you guys heard before we did the taxi test and the range check that my ESC is obviously not calibrated because I was getting up to here at least on my sticks before the throttle even kicked on. So we're going to show you how simple it is. Majority of free wing flight line, I even think Skynetic ESCs all work the same. It's usually the first set of beeps, but obviously, depending on the plane you have, just got to check your ESC manual. There's, probably a range of beeps or some way to do it. Every ESC will do it, or it's not worth its grain of salt. Don't buy it. So, plane's unplugged. So all you do is throttle all the way up. Plug in the aircraft. First set of beeps, bring it down. Now it arms normally. Now hold the nose for me, and now you'll see. Watch my transmitter. Right there. First click. Now I have, and I'm gonna go hard. Go for it. Now I'm gonna go full power. So now I have full access to, the power that the F-18 has. All right, guys, so we calibrated the ESC. You saw, basically, Patrick was here. These are the things that we do to our models before we fly, when we get them to the field, the things you should check every time. Transmitter. Check your battery every single time. You got to get to the point where it's, just common knowledge. You should just do it, to better safe than sorry. Don't allow something to happen down there. Again, some of the earlier stuff I talked about, tugging on your gear, all things that can be happening, between flights and things like that. And then, I wanted to call out Jeff's Custom RC. He did say something awesome on a live show I joined him on. They go every Tuesday night, him and Dustin Holloman. And he does a log for every model. So after every single flight, he writes down, look, if it was great, he'll just write great. Then he doesn't have to check anything. But let's say a model had, there's a wiggle on the turn or something. He'll write that down because maybe he puts that plane to the side, he starts flying something else, then he doesn't revisit it for a month. You're not going to remember your mental notes. We have too much going on in our life, so maybe the next time you fly, you forget, and then the plane goes down, and that's when you'll remember, I said something about that, but he writes it down. Then he could check, you know what, I wrote that I had an issue. Let me check my airplane again. Yeah. If I'm going to fly this 10 times in a row, I'm not going to check every single thing every time because I did beginning, on the same day. But if now this model goes into storage, I don't get out here another 2 months with it, then I'm going to sit there and go through it all again and just make sure, right?
That's how it is in full scale. We look at our 781 logs and we look and see what happened in the previous flights, and they can write up that this happened, and you can see, okay, well, maybe I can look for that or expect that. So, yeah, it's a great idea.
Awesome. So, guys, now this will be ready to fly, but I'm going to throw it back to myself in the studio, and I think it's time to wrap up this video. And we're back. So there you go, guys. Part 2 of the pre-flight. And as I said, this is not the Bible on pre-flight checks, but I think we did a lot of the most important things. I'm seeing a lot of great comments in the live chat. Like people said, fail-safe programming. Sure, all that type of stuff. Check your telemetry, whatever you're going to do. And then a gas model. There's probably other types of, checks you'd make on your motor timing, things like that. Make sure it's all good. Your mixtures and such. So, this is just a good, I think, basis. So if you're getting into it, but hopefully you're joining a club. Hopefully you're getting out there and other people who have experience have been doing it that can help you while you're there. But if you're somebody that's just getting into RC and you're going to a local place and, these are the things you want to check. Because the last thing you want to do, nobody wants to have a crash, or if you do have a crash, you hope it's just your fault. You know what I mean? Like I dumb-thumbed it or something, like I stalled it. I mean, that's a whole nother scenario. But I did end up mating that F-18, so I think we're going to show that, and then we'll come back to the studio quick, because I know we're now over the hour, but I just might as well show. I can't do we did the whole unboxing and everything, and I'll show you an honest maiden flight on that first flight, and, let's start from there. So, Alex, play it away.
All right, I'm going to be down at the edge, so give me some nice high alpha stuff on this maiden.
Give me one of these. Give me one of these.
All right, you ready, Alex? Here we go. Maiden. F-18, base gray.
Hit it. Sensitive.
Sensitive. There we go. I went to low rates.
Okay. That feel better?
Feels better. We'll bring the power back a little bit. Yeah. Oh, man.
Look at her go. Look at her go.
This is a Maiden. I shouldn't be doing that on a Maiden. But,
If you're comfortable, let it fly.
all right, I need some up.
Up elevator?
Yep.
Tell me how that
Let me
feels.
see. Let me get it straight.
Oh, way more.
Yep, way more.
We're gonna go
Give me
like
a
this.
bunch. There we go. That's better. That's better.
Tell me what else you need.
Stay right there. And actually, can you turn the gyro on? Let's check
Yep,
that.
you ready?
Yep.
Ready,
To
center.
the middle. Oh, yeah.
Nice and locked in now.
Yep. Let's see it on a fast pass. 'Cause
Okay.
with a gyro, see the game. Looking good.
I don't see any wobble.
All right, I'm going to go. It flies nice. I forgot how nice the F-18 is.
It's a great jet.
You're still on the OG.
I am. That's right. Did they update this one?
Well, the in-runner. There's an in-runner now. Yep.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
She was a rocket ship before. Wow. Oh, wow. Wow.
It could keep going. It could have kept
Wow.
going. I'm going to glide it.
That was impressive.
Patrick, do you doubt anymore?
I never did. I never did. It's just every
Yeah.
little incremental step is like just impressive.
You know what I did in my meeting? I put a 5-minute timer. So I'm
Uh-oh.
hitting 2 minutes.
Okay.
So
You're about there, right meow.
Well, let's see, with the in-runner, I doubt it.
You feel like you got maybe another 30 seconds or so?
3:30 I probably
Yeah,
had
you
on my
probably get
regular one. I'll do another pass and then
Okay.
we'll set up.
Or you'll just hit
Let's see
LBC
how.
and we'll have a
Let's
good
see.
time.
Yeah. Let's see. So there's half flaps.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check the gear. It's on a delay, so gear coming out.
Did you mix anything with the elevator?
Nope.
Okay.
Gear's out. Good. I say we try for a landing.
Yeah, give it an
Let's
approach.
do the approach. So now we're going full flaps.
And if it feels good, stick it.
If it feels good, stick it.
To the moon, Alice. Lots of speed.
All right, just feeling her out.
She's nice and stable.
Yeah, she feels great. I love when the gyro just is stable and
Smooths
everything,
it all
like,
out,
you know.
yeah.
Low rates feel good. Those high
Yes.
rates were a little all over, so I'll swap that out.
Yeah, yeah. Look at that. There it is. There it is. Nice setting it up. Right in the V. Gorgeous.
I'll take it.
Take it. Take
I'll
it.
take it.
I love it.
I'll take it. It's a Maiden. Got to get used to it again. It's
Fantastic.
like I never flew it before, you know? Re-Maiden.
It looked good.
Second.
Yeah.
All
You're
right,
back.
and I'm back.
You're back.
All right, and we're back. So I was watching it on a delay to make sure I heard. Shelby, you asked me to measure it, so might as well do it. Dad's RC, thank you for joining us, but he's there. It is, Alex, am I on the nozzle? It is about 51.5 inches, so it's over 4 feet from the nozzle to the nose without the nose cone on it. So 51.5, you know, give or take, me eyeballing it. But yeah, guys, so there was Honest Maiden. You know, I did some things I probably shouldn't, but I've flown, you know, a few F-18s, but it's been a bunch of months since I got my other F-18s out. So that was, you know, sort of learning the aircraft. That's when my landing wasn't perfect. But I did another 2 flights on it for pictures, and she flies fantastically, guys, you know, with the in-runner power system now. And I actually love just sort of the base gray. Now I'm already thinking, because remember I did the Silver Eagles one, and I had a tail heavy, you know, accident because I 3D printed all that crazy stuff on it and never re-CG'd it. And I wasn't even thinking when I was 3D printing that stuff how much weight they were. Like, you know, I was in my early 3D printing learning. You can make them
Print
thinner.
everything.
You know, yeah, I was just printing at whatever thickness. I didn't even think about it. I was so excited, but you know, now I'm thinking of a livery for this one because I still have my Silver Eagles up there, but now I want to do something, maybe something with less tail action because I hate doing full tail stickers. But, you know, I'll put her in something, but I'm excited to get her back out again. So I'll definitely be revisiting the field to get a new flight on the in-runner version, and maybe I'll let Patrick do the flight review on this because he knows his F-18 really well, and as you saw in those shots, I mean, that's just who he is. So, guys, I hope this show helps you. So, you know, in my parting words to you, from the time you open your box and you get excited for the blue tape, or from any manufacturer, whatever you get, whatever you're going to go out and fly, do your due diligence on it. Don't just try to rush it together and get out to the field and leave anything to chance. You know, if something had gone wrong on my Maiden there, for the most part, I couldn't, you know, then I wouldn't have been able to really, I mean, unless I dumb-thumbed it, but like, you know, something happens there, then, you know, after I checked everything, then that's just really unfortunate. But, you know, due diligence. These are, you know, again, these are big models. Even if you're at a club flying, I mean, something goes wrong, it could come back at people. We hear those stories. That's why AMA exists with insurance and such. You know, it can be dangerous. Check it. You know, you wouldn't drive your car over, you know, whatever the mileage is. You know, if you don't change your oil, you're going to regret it later, and it's going to cost you more in the long run, you know. So same thing with aircraft, just like a real pilot. Any plane you've ever been on, the maintenance people log it. The pilots have logs. Like, you hope they're doing that, or else, you know, where, you know, you're getting on a plane without a pre-flight check, you know, that would be scary. So do it to all your models, you know, and I hope this helps you. And I hope over time, when people revisit this and replays, they're adding more information at the bottom. By all means, call me out if I said anything wrong, just so when people go into the comment section of this video in the future, they should see other tips and tricks and other things that you guys do, so they can really get everything they need. You know, so yeah, so that'll be my parting words for today. This Friday, guys, thank you for staying with me. And again, you know, as always, hit that like button. If you did actually like this video on your way out the door, hit the like button. And then I'll see you guys right here next Friday at Motion RC Live. Thank you so much, everyone.